Here are the horoscopes for the week of the 8th to the 14th of August 2022. So we begin the week building up to the full moon at the end of the week, but we begin with Venus making some significant aspects to both Neptune and Pluto. So Venus is opposite Pluto, which takes us back to when they were together on the 3rd of March earlier this year. And when we look back over the last 6 months, we can see what we needed to let go of and alchemize in the heart, with Venus being the heart centre and Pluto being the phoenix, like our chemical energy, which is letting go of the old and the dense and raising up our energy. So we reach the peak opposition this week, and quite often we can forget to stop and take stock of how far we've come. So as we head towards the full moon, it may be worth having a look at that journey and if there's anything that still needs to be alchemized or released. There's a sense of taking back our power with this couple as well, as Pluto can represent the establishment and Venus is obviously our centre, our values, what we care about and what we're creating. So oppositions are always a little bit tricky. Each side needs to be valued, but there'll be a feeling of that opposition, which is what a full moon is as well, permeating all week. So oppositions can bring something up from the depths, and Pluto is the real depths. So walk gently at the beginning of the week and stay very pure and simple and heart-centred and allow whatever it is to come up and be released. There's no need to add to any sense of struggle, but we can be the observer and perform personal alchemy when we can feel and allow and give our mind something useful to do, which is to focus on what's the message here, what's the lesson here, what's the meaning here. And obviously this depends on where that's falling in your own personal chart, but there may be a week of tension which we experience mirrored back from the outside as well. But to assist with this, we've got Venus trine Neptune. So Neptune's in Pisces and Venus is at the last degrees of Cancer. And this will really help as Neptune brings a sense of grace and surrender. So where there's a power struggle with Pluto, we can realise that to reclaim our personal power, sometimes it's necessary to just let go and stop trying to enforce personal will on things, as there may be a greater timeline and a greater reason. And if we allow the waves to ebb and flow, we're being schooled very much in the next couple of years on what we put our personal attention to and what we can create constructively, but also not being micromanagers, not being too willful, not trying to force things. So knowing when to apply and knowing when to surrender. The Neptune aspect here will give us that grace and peace where we can let go and feel connected with all that is and the greater time waves, that everything's flowing in perfect timing and happening for a reason. We also have Mars square Saturn, which was more prevalent last week, but another indication here of the lower will and the higher will, the wisdom to see the bigger picture, to get out of our own attachment and align with our inner wisdom, to be able to come from the core with Saturn in Aquarius, rather than pushing things forward with Mars in Taurus. So quite a lot to work with there as the moon grows to full on the 12th, on Friday, at 19 degrees Aquarius, at 2:34 UK time. So Venus has just gone into Leo at this point, which is the opposite of Aquarius. I've been talking for a couple of weeks about how we're in the month of Leo with the Sun in Leo and now Venus moving into Leo, but how actually there's a very Aquarian tone to this summer, and we head towards the peak of that with the full moon on Friday. So to begin with, Venus into Leo goes perfectly with letting go of pushing from the personal will and actually lighting the fire of desire in our hearts and learning that when we radiate what we truly love, but we don't have an attachment to personal timeline or goals, then things will manifest back to us on that vibration rather than us trying to do things in the old way. And Aquarius is all about perfect timing. So we're in what's called the age of Aquarius, which is part of a 26,000 year great year. And Saturn's anchoring us and teaching us how to work with those Aquarian vibrations. And in a way, the lessons that we learn at the beginning of the week may be very necessary ones. What's the result if I do it the wrong way, if I'm trying to come from the headspace and personal will, versus what does it feel like if I surrender? So there is a workshop feel to all of these energies that we can really learn valuable lessons from. And at this full moon, it will be next to Saturn. So when the moon takes us inwards to really feel and align on the deepest level, then there's no thinking and no forcing required. We may get remembrances of ancient wisdom, because we've been here many times, but we can often get trapped in our personal story. So as we get to Thursday, Friday, maybe consider, do you have any resonant memory of past lives? Things that you've learned, timelines that you wanted to carry on exploring, or things that you wanted to remember to keep you on track and not trapped in a limited perspective. So at this full moon, it's square Uranus, the ruler of Aquarius. And a square is a point where we come to pressure but we break through. It's one of the most important challenges in astrology. Especially check if you've got squares in your chart, because that's what you wanted to work on this time, to raise your level of consciousness. So to have the ruler of Aquarius squaring off with the Sun, Moon and Saturn means that there is a necessary challenge, that if we view that from a higher perspective and a longer timeline, then there's a chance for a breakthrough. And Uranus is your sovereignty, your rebel, your uniqueness. So there may be challenges this week that are guiding you to stand in your own deep and ancient wisdom, go against the system. If it's disagreeable, stand up for yourself. But mainly what I'm seeing here is going from the little person that tries to plan and force things regardless of the natural timing, following along, complying, go along to get along, outsourcing our thinking to an external authority. And the breakthrough here is a really magnificent one, learning to be our own authority, learning to trust ourselves, learning to dig our roots deep. Because by doing this, it's all about being now, so we're being the vibration, we're attracting according to the vibration that we're being. So getting the head out of the way, getting the personal will out of the way, and getting the external limiting systems out of the way, and deciding for ourselves, standing strong and tall, then we can see here that there's an Aquarian mission, but not just this week, but that's setting us up for this age, really. And it does require personal responsibility, critical thinking, self-knowledge, and the ability to go against the group if the group is being manipulated or run on a false narrative. Really feel into what feels right and get used to anchoring the very cells of our knowing, and then effortlessly radiating our pure intention that's anchored in the very core of our being. So as you can see, quite a complex week here, lots of different lessons on a personal level and on a collective level. They'll be quite short-lived, so it's worth actually going into them rather than trying to avoid, because the rewards of this is all guiding us towards soul-centered living, which is very much the theme of the times that we're moving into. So if you'd like to see where this is happening for you, I am available, zoehind7@gmail.com. It's a perfect time to learn astrology, tarot numerology for yourself, so I offer lessons with custom content at your level and pace, so you can start to tune into this and receive the deeper benefits. I offer readings to see where all of this is happening for you and help you anchor in your core and find a purposeful direction, meaningful use of your energy, being in the right place at the right time towards your soul goals. I post these videos on my YouTube channel, Zoeastro, on Instagram at zoehind7 and Facebook at astrozo. And please do like and share to help get this information out further if you find it beneficial. So those are the horoscopes this week, and I'll see you next week.